I adjusted my tie one last time as I looked at my reflection in the restaurant window. Emily had worked hard for this company anniversary, and I honestly felt proud of her. I smiled, took a slow breath, and walked inside. "You're here," Emily said, kissing my cheek. "I was starting to think work kidnapped you." "I wouldn't miss tonight," I replied. "You've been talking about this dinner for weeks." She grinned. "Good answer." A waiter handed me a glass of sparkling water. Emily slipped her arm through mine. "Come on. I want you to meet everyone. This is my husband, Nathan," she said. Several people smiled politely. "Congratulations, Emily," I said. "You deserve tonight." "See?" she laughed. "He's always supportive." "I try." A tall man stepped toward us with a confident smile. "Nathan, this is Ryan." Ryan held out his hand. "So you're the famous husband." "I don't know about famous," I answered as we shook hands. Ryan laughed. "Emily talks about you a lot." Emily smirked. "Only the funny stories." I chuckled, assuming she meant harmless memories. "Then I hope they're flattering." "We'll see," she teased. More co-workers gathered around us. Someone raised a glass. "To Emily." Everyone cheered. I joined the applause. Ryan leaned against the table. "So, Nathan, what's it like being married to the office superstar?" "I think I'm the lucky one." Emily laughed louder than anyone. "Oh, Nathan always says things like that." Ryan smiled. "You're a very safe husband." "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means predictable," Ryan replied. Emily nudged him. "He's not wrong." I smiled politely, though something about the comment bothered me. Another coworker joined us. "I've heard Nathan fixes everything around the house." "I try," I said. Emily rolled her eyes playfully. "He's basically an instruction manual with legs." The group laughed. I forced a small smile. "That sounds more practical than exciting." "Exactly," Emily said. "Practical." Ryan lifted his drink. "Reliable husbands are rare." "I'll take that as a compliment," I replied. Dinner was served. People talked about vacations, promotions, and future projects. I mostly listened. Ryan seemed to dominate every conversation. Whenever he joked, Emily laughed before anyone else. I noticed it again and again. Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was simply tired. Dessert arrived. A manager walked onto the stage. "Tonight we celebrate another successful year. Before we finish, does anyone have something to share?" Emily immediately stood. "I do." Everyone clapped as she accepted the microphone. I smiled proudly. She looked beautiful standing there. "I just want to thank everyone for making work so much fun." More applause followed. "And speaking of fun," she turned toward me, "I have to tell you all something about my husband." People leaned closer. Heat crept into my face. Emily laughed. "Nathan is the safest, most boring husband alive." The room exploded with laughter. She continued. "Last month I asked him to surprise me." More laughter. "You know what he did?" She paused dramatically. "He made dinner, folded the laundry, and scheduled the car service." The laughter grew louder. "I thought maybe he'd planned a romantic getaway." She shook her head. "Nope. He printed our monthly budget." People wiped tears from their eyes. Ryan nearly doubled over. "I told you," he shouted. "Safe." Emily laughed so hard she almost dropped the microphone. I stood frozen. My hands tightened around my glass. Someone slapped my shoulder. "Don't worry, Nathan. At least you're dependable." I managed a weak smile. "I'm glad everyone enjoyed the story." Emily returned to the table. She was still laughing. "Did you see their faces?" I looked at her quietly. "Can we talk for a second?" "Sure." We stepped away from the crowd. I lowered my voice. "Why would you embarrass me like that?" She blinked. "Embarrass you? You made me the joke." "Oh, come on. I'm serious." She folded her arms. "Nathan." Everyone was laughing. "Yes, that's the point." I wasn't laughing. She sighed dramatically. "You are so sensitive. I wanted tonight to celebrate you." It did. Then why make me the entertainment? She smiled as if I had asked the strangest question in the world. Relax. It was just a joke. I looked into her eyes, hoping to find even a little regret. Instead, I found amusement. The laughter behind us continued as if nothing had happened. I nodded because I couldn't trust my voice. I followed her back into the banquet hall wearing the same polite smile everyone expected from me. Inside, though, something had cracked so quietly that nobody else could hear it. As applause filled the room again, I couldn't stop asking myself one question. Was it really just a joke? Or had I finally seen the truth hiding beneath every smile? I barely remembered the drive home. The laughter from the dinner echoed inside my head long after the restaurant disappeared behind us. Emily unlocked the front door and tossed her purse onto the couch. Well, she said, that was a great night. I closed the door quietly. Was it? She looked at me. Oh, not this again. I'm trying to understand. Understand what? Why you thought humiliating me was funny. She sighed. Nathan, you're still stuck on that? I haven't stopped thinking about it. She crossed her arms. I told you already. It was just a joke. It didn't feel like one. That's because you're too sensitive. I stared at her. You think this is about being sensitive? What else could it be? It's about respect. She laughed softly. You always make everything so serious. I wanted to celebrate your success. And we did. No. Everyone celebrated while laughing at me. She shook her head. You really need to learn how to laugh at yourself. I do laugh at myself. Clearly not. I don't mind laughing with people. See, I mind being laughed at. She rolled her eyes. I can't believe we're fighting over this. I can't believe you're dismissing it. Emily grabbed a bottle of water. I'm going to bed. Emily. What? Do you even feel sorry? She paused for a second. No. The bedroom door closed. I stood alone in the living room. That single word hurt more than the laughter. The next morning, I made coffee like I always did. Emily walked into the kitchen without looking at me. Morning. Morning. You still upset? Yes. She shrugged. You'll get over it. I looked at her. Is that what you really think? People have real problems, Nathan. So my feelings aren't real? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She picked up her keys. I'm late for work. Can we finish this tonight? We'll see. She left. The house suddenly felt much bigger than it had yesterday. 2 days passed. Every conversation ended exactly the same way. I tried to explain. Emily refused to listen. Instead, she kept repeating the same sentence. It was just a joke. On Friday evening, my phone rang. It was my sister. Hey, Sarah said. You sound worried. I am. Can I come over? Of course. An hour later, she sat across from me with a cup of tea. You look exhausted, she said. I haven't been sleeping. Because of the dinner? I nodded. I keep replaying it. She watched me carefully. Nathan, answer honestly. I'll try. Has Emily embarrassed you before? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Sarah noticed. That silence answered me. I guess. Yes. How many times? I don't know. A few. More than a few. And you always defended her? I told myself she didn't mean it. Sarah leaned forward. What if she did? I looked down. I don't want to believe that. I know. I love her. I know that too. But love shouldn't feel like this. Her words stayed with me. The following afternoon, I met David for lunch. He noticed my expression immediately. You look like someone stole your future. I forced a smile. Maybe just my confidence. What happened? I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he took a slow breath. I've seen this before. What do you mean? My last relationship started exactly like that. Really? It wasn't cheating. What was it? Disrespect. I stayed quiet. David continued. It starts with little jokes. I nodded. Then public comments. Yes. Then they convince you you're the problem. I looked into my coffee. Emily keeps saying I'm too sensitive. That's easier than admitting she crossed a line. I rubbed my forehead. I keep thinking marriage deserves another chance. It does. I looked up hopefully. But only if both people fight for it. His words hit me harder than I expected. That weekend, Emily barely came home. When she finally arrived, she looked tired. Long day? I asked. Ryan and I had to finish a presentation. Oh, we grabbed dinner after work. I didn't know. I forgot to text. She walked toward the bedroom. Emily. What? We hardly talk anymore. I'm busy. We used to make time. Things change. She disappeared down the hallway. I stood there listening to the bedroom door close again. The next week Ryan's name appeared more often. Ryan thinks. Ryan suggested. Ryan and I are meeting. Each sentence felt small by itself. Together, they became impossible to ignore. One evening, I looked at our wedding photo on the bookshelf. I remembered the promises we made. Respect, trust, partnership. I wondered where they had gone. For years, I had excused every careless comment. I had smiled through every uncomfortable moment. I had convinced myself love meant endless patience. Now I finally saw something I had refused to admit. The dinner wasn't the beginning of my pain. It was only the moment that forced me to see it. The real damage had happened slowly, one careless laugh, one cruel joke, and one silent apology at a time. For the first time, I wondered whether I had spent years protecting my marriage while quietly losing myself. I almost skipped Emily's company's Friday networking event, but she insisted. You should come, she said while fixing her earrings. People already think you're avoiding everyone. I'm not avoiding anyone. Then prove it. I don't want another repeat of the anniversary dinner. She sighed. Nathan, you're still holding on to that? I'm trying not to. Good. Then smile tonight. I always do. She kissed my cheek quickly. That's the husband I need. The words stayed with me all evening. The event was held in a downtown hotel. People laughed, exchanged business cards, and talked about promotions. I stayed near the refreshment table while Emily moved confidently from group to group. Ryan soon appeared beside her. He said something I couldn't hear. Emily laughed. Again. I looked away. David's words echoed in my mind. It starts with little jokes. After another hour, I stepped into the hallway to answer a phone call from Sarah. How are you doing? She asked. I'm surviving. That's not the same as living. I know. Did Emily apologize? No. I'm sorry. So am I. We ended the call. As I walked back toward the ballroom, I heard familiar voices coming from a small lounge beside the hallway. Emily. Ryan. The door wasn't completely closed. Ryan laughed. So, did Nathan actually believe your speech about respecting marriage? Emily laughed with him. Of course he did. You've got him completely fooled. I know. Ryan chuckled. I still can't believe the anniversary dinner. It was perfect. You had the whole room laughing. Emily lowered her voice, but I could still hear every word. People finally noticed me. Ryan asked, because of him? Yes. There was a short silence. Then Emily said something that made my heart stop. When I make fun of Nathan, everyone pays attention to me. Ryan laughed again. So it's worth it. It makes me feel powerful. Powerful. The word echoed inside me. I know it sounds terrible, Emily continued, but when everyone laughs, I feel important. Ryan replied without hesitation. Keep doing it. Confidence wins promotions. Couldn't breathe. Every excuse I had made for her disappeared. It wasn't thoughtless. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional. I quietly stepped backward before they noticed me. My hands shook. I walked toward the hotel lobby and sat alone. For several minutes, I simply stared at the floor. The pain wasn't loud. It was quiet. Quiet enough to break something inside me. A soft voice interrupted my thoughts. Are you Nathan? I looked up. Yes. A woman offered a gentle smile. I'm Hannah. I'm sorry. Have we met? I'm Ryan's wife. I blinked. Oh. She sat across from me. I hope you don't mind. I don't. She looked toward the ballroom. I've wanted to meet you for a long time. Why? She hesitated. Because I know what it's like. What do you mean? She looked down at her hands. Ryan jokes about me too. I stayed silent. Not because he thinks it's funny. She forced a sad smile. Because it makes him look confident. I felt a chill. I just overheard them. I guessed. You knew. I've lived with Ryan long enough. She sighed. I'm sorry. You don't owe me an apology. I know. Then why say it? Because someone should. Her honesty caught me off guard. I don't understand why people do this. Neither do I. She stood slowly. I hope things get better for you. Before leaving, she looked back. Please don't lose yourself trying to protect someone who keeps hurting you. I watched her disappear into the crowd. When I arrived home later that night, my mother called. Hello, sweetheart. Hi, Mom. You sound tired. I am. Did something happen? I told her everything I had heard. She stayed quiet. Finally, she spoke. People make mistakes. I know. Marriage takes forgiveness. What if the person doesn't regret hurting me? She hesitated. I still believe forgiveness is important. I want to forgive. Then pray for wisdom. I will. After the call, Sarah phoned almost immediately. Mom told me you sounded upset. I overheard Emily. What did she say? I repeated every word. Sarah didn't answer for several seconds. Then she finally spoke. Nathan. Yeah. Forgiveness without change is surrender. I closed my eyes. I don't want my marriage to fail. It already is. Maybe she can change. Only if she wants to. Couldn't argue. Because deep down, I knew Sarah was right. The next morning I opened a notebook. I wrote the date. Then I wrote everything I remembered. Every conversation. Every insult. Every apology that never came. I made copies of our financial records. I checked our savings account. I changed passwords Emily didn't need. None of it felt like revenge. Felt like survival. I still loved my wife. But for the first time, I admitted something I had refused to believe. Love could survive many storms. Respect could not. And once respect disappeared, love slowly began disappearing with it. I almost refused to attend Emily's company's quarterly celebration. She stood in front of the bedroom mirror. You're coming. I don't think that's a good idea. She sighed. Nathan, don't embarrass me. I looked at her. I'm the one embarrassing you. You know what I mean. No, I really don't. She turned toward me. People noticed you've been distant. I've been hurt. You've been dramatic. I took a slow breath. I'm coming because I want to support my wife. She smiled. That's better. The drive to the hotel was quiet. Emily scrolled through messages. I stared through the windshield. Neither of us tried to fix the silence. When we entered the ballroom, music filled the room. Coworkers greeted Emily with bright smiles. Ryan walked over almost immediately. There she is. Emily laughed. Ryan. He nodded toward me. Nathan. Ryan. He grinned. You look serious tonight. I'm just here to celebrate. Good. Emily slipped away to greet another group. Ryan leaned closer. Relax. I am. You've got that face again. What face? The one that says you're judging everyone. I'm not judging anyone. He shrugged. Whatever you say. I walked toward a quiet corner. For a while I simply watched. People praised Emily. She enjoyed every compliment. Michael Turner, the company's CEO, stood nearby speaking with several department heads. I recognized him from earlier events. He greeted people politely but rarely smiled. A few minutes later, the host stepped onto the stage. Let's hear from one of our brightest leaders. Everyone applauded. Emily accepted the microphone with confidence. She thanked the company. She praised her team. Then she looked directly at me. I already knew what was coming. My husband is here tonight. Several people turned toward me. Emily smiled. You all remember Nathan. Light laughter spread across the room. She continued. I told him this morning not to bring spreadsheets to the party. More laughter. Ryan clapped loudly. Emily shook her head. I swear, if excitement had a natural enemy, it would be my husband. The laughter grew louder. Someone whistled. Another person raised a glass. I felt every pair of eyes on me. Emily wasn't finished. If you ever need advice about budgeting your vacation before actually taking one, Nathan is your man. The room erupted again. Ryan laughed harder than anyone. Emily covered her mouth as if she couldn't stop laughing. Something inside me became perfectly calm. Not angry, not emotional, just calm. I slowly stood. Several people looked confused. I walked toward the stage. Emily smiled. See? Even Nathan wants to join the fun. I reached the host. May I borrow the microphone for 1 minute? He hesitated. Michael Turner looked at him and gave a small nod. The microphone was placed in my hand. I faced the room. No one spoke. I looked at Emily first, then Ryan, finally everyone else. I won't tell jokes tonight. The room remained quiet. I only want to repeat something I recently heard. Emily's smile weakened. I continued. I accidentally overheard a private conversation. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. I heard my wife say that making fun of me gets people's attention. Emily's face changed. I kept speaking calmly. I heard her say that humiliating me makes her feel powerful around her coworkers. The silence deepened. I looked at Ryan. I also heard someone encourage her to keep doing it. Ryan cleared his throat. Nathan. I raised one hand gently. I'm not finished. He stopped talking. I turned back toward the audience. I spent weeks wondering whether I was too sensitive. Nobody laughed. I kept asking myself if public humiliation was normal. Emily stepped forward. Nathan, you're misunderstanding. I shook my head. I'm repeating your own words. She froze. I continued quietly. I loved believing my wife respected me. No one moved. I defended her every single time. Emily reached toward me. Please. I took one step back. I don't want revenge. My voice stayed steady. I don't want anyone to hate her. Several coworkers lowered their eyes. I only want to ask one question. I looked around the room. If respect disappears from a marriage. I paused. What exactly is left? The silence became overwhelming. No applause. No laughter. No whispers. Nothing. Ryan finally spoke. This isn't the place. I answered without raising my voice. Neither was humiliating me. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Emily looked at everyone around her. It was misunderstood. No one answered. It was only office humor. Still nothing. I never meant. Her sentence faded away. For the first time since our anniversary dinner, nobody rushed to support her. Michael Turner slowly stepped forward. He looked at me first, then at Emily. His expression never changed. This celebration is over. That was all he said. People quietly placed their glasses on nearby tables. Small groups drifted toward the exits. No one laughed. No one congratulated Emily. Ryan avoided looking at anyone. Emily whispered my name. Nathan. I met her eyes. What? Can we talk? Not tonight. You embarrassed me. I almost smiled. No. She stared at me. I told the truth. I handed the microphone back to the host. Without another word, I walked across the ballroom. Every step felt lighter than the one before. Nobody tried to stop me. Nobody mocked me. Nobody laughed. When I reached the exit, I realized something had changed forever. I hadn't won because I exposed Emily. I had won because I refused to let her define my worth any longer. For the first time in years, I walked away carrying my dignity instead of my anger. I woke up in the guest room because neither Emily nor I had spoken after leaving the company celebration. My phone buzzed before sunrise. It was David. How are you holding up? I've been better. I saw a few messages online. So it has already started. It spread fast. I didn't post anything. I know you didn't. I sat on the edge of the bed. What are people saying? That everyone in the ballroom watched Emily get exposed. I sighed. I never wanted a public fight. I know. You believe me? I've known you for 15 years, Nathan. Thanks. He paused. What are you going to do now? I honestly don't know. You don't have to figure everything out today. I appreciate that. After we ended the call, I walked into the kitchen. Emily was already there. She looked tired. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes. She didn't greet me. Instead, she asked, "Are you happy now?" I poured myself coffee. I don't know what you mean. My office won't stop talking. I didn't start those conversations. You didn't have to. I answered after you humiliated me twice. She slammed her mug onto the counter. You ruined my reputation. I looked at her calmly. No. What? You ruined it yourself. She stared at me. You really believe that? I do. She shook her head. It was one harmless joke. It stopped being harmless when you repeated it. You made me look cruel. I repeated your own words. She had no answer. Instead, she grabbed her bag. I'm going to work. I hope your day gets better. She laughed bitterly. It won't. The house became silent again. Around noon, David arrived with his truck. You ready? I guess so. We loaded a few boxes. My clothes, my laptop, some books. Nothing else felt important. David closed the tailgate. You can stay at my apartment as long as you need. Thank you. No speeches. I still owe you. You owe me dinner someday. I smiled for the first time in days. Deal. As we drove away, I looked back once. The house no longer felt like home. David glanced at me. You okay? I think I just accepted something. What? I can't keep living where respect disappeared. He nodded. That's a painful truth. It is. His apartment wasn't large, but it felt peaceful. After carrying in the last box, he handed me a business card. Who's Olivia Reed? A lawyer. I don't want a divorce. I didn't say you did. Then why? Because understanding your options isn't the same as making a decision. I looked at the card. You already thought this far ahead? I care about you. That afternoon I called Olivia. Olivia Reed speaking. My name is Nathan Carter. David told me you might call. He did. How can I help? I don't know if my marriage can survive. She spoke gently. Then let's discuss your rights before emotions make decisions for you. I don't want revenge. Most people don't. I only want fairness. That's exactly what the law is for. We scheduled a meeting for the following morning. When the call ended, I felt strangely calmer. Knowledge didn't destroy hope. It simply replaced fear with preparation. That evening my phone rang again. Emily. I answered. What? You couldn't wait to leave? I needed space. You abandoned me. I moved out after months of disrespect. She ignored my words. Michael met with me today. I stayed quiet. He said my behavior violated professional standards. I'm sorry you had that meeting. No, you're not. I didn't ask him to do it. They all looked at me differently. I imagine they did. They think I'm a bully. I closed my eyes. What do you think? She didn't answer. Instead she whispered, it was one harmless joke. I spoke calmly. No, Emily. What? It wasn't one joke. Silence. It was years of little jokes. She breathed heavily. I never meant. You admitted why you did it. I was angry. You said humiliating me made you feel powerful. Another silence. Then she asked quietly, can we start over? I don't know. You don't even want to try? I tried for years. She began crying. You embarrassed my entire life. I finally said the words I had been holding inside. Actions have consequences. She didn't respond. The call ended. The next morning Sarah visited David's apartment. She carried 2 bags of groceries. I figured you hadn't eaten. I haven't. She hugged me. I'm proud of you. For leaving. For respecting yourself. I smiled weakly. It doesn't feel brave. It rarely does. Later that afternoon David showed me an article about workplace respect. Emily's company had announced mandatory leadership training for managers. No names appeared. None were necessary. Everyone already knew why. That evening Hannah called unexpectedly. "I'm sorry to bother you." "You're not. I thought you should know something." "What is it?" "Ryan is under review too." I frowned. "Why?" "I finally told the truth about how he treats people." "I'm sorry you went through that." "So am I." She sighed. "I should have spoken sooner." "You spoke when you were ready." "Take care of yourself, Nathan." "You too." When the call ended, I sat quietly beside the window. For the first time in a long while, I didn't wonder how to earn Emily's approval. I wondered how to become the man I had been before I accepted constant disrespect. That question felt painful. It also felt like freedom. Karma hadn't arrived with shouting or revenge. It had arrived through simple truth. And truth was changing every life it touched, including mine. I had lived in David's apartment for almost 3 weeks when someone knocked on my door. I already knew who it was. I opened it. Emily stood there holding a small paper bag. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi. I brought coffee. You remembered what I like." "I remember more than you think." I stepped aside. "You can come in." She looked around the apartment. "It's smaller than your old place. It's quieter too." She lowered her eyes. "I deserve that." Neither of us spoke for a moment. Finally she held out the coffee. "I wasn't sure you'd even open the door." "I almost didn't." She nodded slowly. "I understand." We sat across from each other. She twisted the paper cup in her hands. "My office feels different now." "How?" "People stop talking when I walk into the room." I stayed quiet. "They don't invite me to lunch anymore." "I'm sorry." She looked surprised. "You are. I never wanted your life destroyed." She smiled sadly. "It already is." "What happened?" "Ryan." I waited. "He told everyone this was my fault." I frowned. "It wasn't only your fault." "I know." "He encouraged you." "He denied everything." I wasn't surprised. "He said I misunderstood his jokes." The irony wasn't lost on either of us. Emily laughed once. It sounded empty. "I guess now I know how that feels." I looked at her carefully. "Yes." She wiped her eyes. "I kept waiting for someone to defend me." "Did anyone?" "No." "That must have hurt." "It did." She stood. "I should go." At the door she stopped. "Nathan." "Yes." "I'm sorry." The door closed softly behind her. The next afternoon Hannah called. "I wanted you to hear this from me." "What happened?" "I left Ryan." I sat up. "Are you okay?" "I will be." "What changed?" "I found more lies." "I'm sorry." "So am I." She sighed. "I told his company everything." "You didn't deserve what he did." "Neither did you." After we ended the call, I received a message from Sarah. "Dinner tonight?" I answered immediately. "I'd like that." That evening she smiled the moment I walked into the restaurant. "You look different." "In a good way?" "You look lighter." "I don't feel lighter." "Healing takes time." "I know." She studied me. "Has Emily contacted you?" "Yes." "What did she want?" "Another chance." "And?" I couldn't answer. Sarah nodded. "Because you still love her." "I do. But I don't know if love is enough anymore." She reached across the table. "You finally sound honest." The following morning I met Olivia. She welcomed me into her office. "How have you been?" "I've been thinking." "About Emily?" "Every day." She folded her hands. "Tell me what you're feeling." "I still care about her." "That's normal." "I hate seeing her suffer." "That is also normal." "I don't want revenge." "You've said that before." "I mean it." Olivia smiled gently. "I believe you." I looked down. "So why can't I simply forgive her and go home?" She answered without hesitation. "Because forgiveness and reconciliation are different choices." I looked up. "Explain." "You can forgive someone without trusting them again." I stayed silent. "You can release anger without reopening the same wound." Her words settled deeply inside me. I've never thought about it that way. Most people don't. When I left her office, my phone vibrated again. "Emily." I answered. Hello. Can I see you? We've already talked. Please. I hesitated. 1 hour. She arrived carrying a small photo album. I found these. She opened it. Our wedding. Our honeymoon. Birthday parties. Christmas mornings. She touched one picture gently. You smiled all the time. I did. I forgot that smile. So did I. She closed the album. I kept telling myself I was teasing you. You were. But I crossed the line. You crossed it many times. Tears rolled down her face. I changed you. I took a slow breath. Yes. I remember when you used to laugh without thinking. I remember too. I miss that man. So do I. She covered her face. I didn't realize I was taking him away. I don't think you wanted to see it. I see it now. I believed her. That made everything harder. She looked directly into my eyes. If I change, would you come home? I answered honestly. I don't know. You still love me. I do. Then why? I swallowed carefully. Because caring about someone isn't always enough to build a safe life with them. She cried quietly. I'll spend the rest of my life proving I've changed. I hope you do. For us. For yourself. She looked confused. You deserve to become a better person whether I'm beside you or not. She stood slowly. I never imagined losing you. I never imagined losing myself. She closed her eyes. I'm sorry. I know. After she left, I sat alone with the photo album. For years I had believed revenge meant making someone hurt as deeply as they had hurt me. Now I understood something different. The strongest revenge wasn't shouting. It wasn't humiliation. It wasn't making Emily suffer. The strongest revenge was refusing to return to the life that had slowly erased my confidence, my voice, and my self-worth. For the first time, I believed I deserved something better. That belief felt stronger than anger ever could. I never imagined I would walk into a courthouse carrying the last pieces of my marriage in a simple folder. Olivia met me near the entrance. How are you feeling? She asked. I barely slept. That's normal. I thought I'd feel angry. And I just feel tired. She nodded. Sometimes that's what the end of a long fight feels like. We entered the courtroom together. Emily was already there. She looked smaller than I remembered. Not physically. Emotionally. She looked at me. Mourning. Mourning. Neither of us smiled. Olivia leaned toward me. Just answer honestly. I will. The clerk called our names. We stepped forward. Judge Eleanor Hayes entered the courtroom. Everyone stood. After we sat down, she looked at both of us calmly. This court is not interested in revenge. Her voice was steady. It is interested in truth. I took a slow breath. Judge Hayes looked at me. Mr. Carter, would you like to begin? Yes. I stood. I loved my wife. Emily lowered her eyes. I believed respect was the foundation of our marriage. I paused. I accepted jokes because I thought they came from love. The judge listened without interrupting. I kept forgiving behavior that slowly destroyed my confidence. Olivia gave me an encouraging nod. I never wanted to embarrass Emily. Judge Hayes asked, why did you speak publicly? Because private conversations changed nothing. She nodded. Thank you. Emily stood next. Her hands trembled. I never planned to lose my marriage. No one interrupted. I thought I was being funny. She stopped. Then she shook her head. No. She looked directly at me. That's not true. The courtroom remained silent. I liked the attention. Her voice broke. When people laughed, they looked at me. She wiped away tears. I felt admired. I closed my eyes briefly. I became addicted to that feeling. She swallowed. I kept making jokes because every laugh made me feel more important. The words hurt, yet they also answered every question I had carried for months. Judge Hayes spoke gently. Mrs. Carter, did you understand how your husband felt? Emily shook her head. I refused to. Why? I didn't want to admit I was wrong. The judge made a few notes. She looked toward me. Do you wish to respond? I stood again. I appreciate her honesty. Emily looked surprised. But honesty today doesn't erase years of choices. She began crying quietly. I know. Judge Hayes nodded once. The court appreciates both parties speaking truthfully. The hearing continued with practical matters. Property, savings, documents. Neither of us argued. When everything ended, Judge Hayes looked at us one last time. I hope both of you find healthier futures. Thank you, Your Honor, I said. Emily whispered the same words. Outside the courthouse, Emily stopped me. Nathan. I turned. I'm sorry. I believe you. She looked shocked. You do? Yes. Then why does this still hurt so much? Because consequences don't disappear when apologies arrive. She nodded slowly. I finally understand. I hope you do. She walked away without another word. A few days later my phone rang. Mr. Carter? Speaking. This is Michael Turner. I hadn't expected that call. Hello, Mr. Turner. I'd like to meet with you. About what? A professional opportunity. We met the following afternoon. Michael invited me into his office. Coffee? Thank you. He handed me a cup. I've watched how you've handled difficult months. I simply tried to stay calm. Most people wouldn't have. I smiled faintly. It wasn't easy. I'm sure. He opened a folder. I'd like to offer you a leadership position. I blinked. I'm sorry. You've demonstrated professionalism under pressure. I never expected this. You earned it. I hesitated. Are you certain? I don't reward perfection. He smiled slightly. I reward character. I accepted the offer. Thank you. I think you'll do well. When I left his office, I felt something unfamiliar. Hope. Real hope. That evening Sarah invited me to dinner. She noticed my smile immediately. There you are. What do you mean? That's my brother. I laughed softly. I've missed him too. She reached across the table. I finally see your confidence returning. I don't feel completely healed. You don't have to. I still have bad days. So does everyone. I nodded. But now you stand a little straighter. I smiled. I guess I do. She lifted her glass. To new beginnings. I raised mine. To self-respect. She grinned. I like that better. Later that night, I sat alone on my apartment balcony. The city lights stretched across the horizon. I thought about Emily. I thought about our wedding. I thought about every moment I had remained silent because I believed love meant enduring everything. Now I understood something different. Respect could never be demanded. No speech could force it. No apology could create it overnight. Respect had to be protected the moment it was threatened. I had learned that lesson too late to save my marriage, but not too late to save myself. Somewhere across the city, Emily was watching the life we had built disappear piece by piece. It wasn't because of one joke. It wasn't because of one terrible night. It was because every choice after that first careless laugh led us here. As painful as that truth was, accepting it finally set me free. Several months passed before I saw Emily again. Life had become quieter. I had settled into my new leadership role. David still called every weekend. Sarah never stopped checking on me. For the first time in years, I woke each morning without wondering whether I was enough. Then one invitation changed everything. My company was hosting a charity business gala. Many local companies would attend, including Emily's former employer. I almost declined. David looked at me and smiled. You don't have to hide anymore. I'm not hiding. Then go. I might see her. You probably will. I took a slow breath. Maybe that's exactly why I should go. The ballroom felt strangely familiar. Soft music filled the room. People talked in small groups. No one stared at me. No one whispered. I finally understood what peace felt like. Michael walked over. Nathan. Good evening. You've done excellent work these past few months. Thank you. You earned every opportunity. I appreciate your trust. He smiled. I never regretted giving it. We talked briefly before he greeted other guests. I turned toward the refreshment table. That was when I saw her. Emily. She looked different. Not because of her clothes. Not because of her hairstyle. She carried herself without the confidence that once demanded attention. Our eyes met. She walked toward me slowly. "Hello, Nathan." "Hello, Emily. I didn't expect to see you." "Neither did I." She looked nervous. "Could we talk?" I nodded. "Of course." Before we could step away, several familiar coworkers approached. They recognized both of us. No one said anything. They simply stood nearby. Emily looked around. Then she took a deep breath. "I don't want to run anymore." I waited quietly. She faced everyone. "I owe Nathan an apology." The room became silent. She looked at me. "I spent years telling myself I was funny." Her voice trembled. "I wasn't." She swallowed. "I confused cruelty with humor." No one interrupted. "I confused attention with love." I lowered my eyes for a moment. She continued. "I believed making my husband the joke made me look important." A former coworker quietly wiped away tears. Emily looked at the floor. "I didn't realize I was destroying the person who loved me most." Nobody moved. Nobody laughed. Nobody defended her. She looked back at me. "You told the truth that night." I answered softly. "I did." "You never exaggerated." "No." "I kept blaming you because accepting my own actions felt harder." I nodded once. "I know." She stepped closer. "I've spent months thinking about everything I said." I stayed silent. "I finally understand why everyone stopped laughing." I asked quietly, "Why?" "Because jokes stop being funny when someone is bleeding inside." Her words reached deeper than I expected. She took another breath. "Nathan." "Yes." "Could you ever forgive me?" Every eye in the room rested on me. Months earlier that attention would have terrified me. Now it didn't. I answered honestly. "I forgave you a long time ago." Emily looked shocked. "You did?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because carrying hatred only hurts me." Tears filled her eyes. "Then." She couldn't finish. I gently continued for her. "You want to know whether forgiveness means we can begin again." She nodded. "It doesn't." The silence remained gentle instead of heavy. I looked directly into her eyes. "Forgiveness frees my heart." She listened carefully. "But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences." She closed her eyes. "I know. It doesn't rebuild broken trust." "I know. It doesn't return the years we lost." She covered her mouth to stop herself from crying. "I'm so sorry." "I believe you." She looked at me again. "I wish I had understood sooner." "So do I." "I loved you." "I know. I just forgot how to show it." I smiled sadly. "Love without respect cannot survive." She nodded slowly. "I've learned that now." "I'm glad." One of her former coworkers quietly said, "Thank you for saying that." Emily looked toward her. "I wish I had listened sooner." Another coworker added, "We all learned something." No one argued. No one blamed. The room felt peaceful. Emily wiped away her tears. "I won't ask you to come back." "Thank you. I only wanted you to know that I finally understand." "I appreciate that." She held out her hand. "For everything I did, I'm truly sorry." I shook her hand. "I hope you find peace." "And you?" "I already have." She smiled through her tears. "I'm happy for you." Those words felt sincere. For the first time in years, there was nothing left to fight. No anger. No bitterness. No need to prove anything. David appeared beside me after Emily quietly walked away. "You okay?" I smiled. "Better than okay. You look different." "I finally feel free." Sarah joined us a moment later. "I saw everything." "So did I." She hugged me. "I'm proud of you." "Thank you." "You didn't humiliate her." "There was no reason to." She smiled. "That's the strongest part." As the evening continued, conversations slowly returned. People laughed again. This time no one became the target. I walked toward the exit. The cool night air greeted me outside. I paused for one last look through the ballroom windows. Months ago I had walked out of a crowded room carrying heartbreak. Tonight I walked away carrying peace. Emily had finally understood the lesson. So had I. Real dignity never comes from making someone else feel small. Real strength is choosing respect when humiliation would be easier. I had spent years believing silence was the price of love. Now I knew that self-respect was the foundation of every healthy relationship. I chose forgiveness because it healed me. I chose distance because it protected me. Most importantly, I chose myself without hating anyone else. Sometimes people expect revenge to sound loud. My revenge was quiet. It was rebuilding my life. It was finding confidence again. It was refusing to become bitter. As I walked into the future, I realized the most powerful response had never been winning an argument. It had simply been knowing when to walk away forever.